Welcome back to TBB,
aka the Bestie Bonus.
I'm Morgan.
I'm Taylor. And today we are going to do Ames. And Morgan, what's the question of the week? I know.
Our question of the week is, what family secret did you recently learn about? Here's some examples. Grandma was a spy. Dad had another family, or we have a secret uncle. This is going to be fun because clearly I can't read today.
Well, this is going to be fun because the shit that I just recently saw in there was insane.
One of my ancestors was the head general under Mussolini.
What?
That's crazy. My uncle started a weed farm inside his house. When my grandpa found it, he burned it. Okay. Oh. Bad grandpa.
Bad grandpa.
You all got high.
Yeah, exactly. Y'all were just sitting there getting like secondhand high.
My dad is a Mason. I knew my grandfather was one when he was alive, but my dad, ? Someone put the dog's ashes into the urn with grandma.
Who did that?
Who did that?
And is it her dog or is it a dog that she hated? Probably a dog that she hated.
Oh, yeah. You know, because if it's not their little yipper yapper other side, then they don't like them.
Exactly.
Grandma killed my great-grandfather with morphine.
Bitch. Creepy account time?
Yeah.
Hello?
ASAP. My uncle traveled a lot for work. Well, we found out he has a whole other family on the side.
Damn.
My uncle has a secret child. I'm the only one who knows out of all of my cousins, including his kids.
Oh
my God.
Wait, including, how did you figure this out?
Yeah, how did
that's what I should have asked. Like, how did you find it out?
My dead dad was a stoner. I'm 22 and a stoner. He sold houses, so I bought one.
Oh, that's sweet.
Uncle Jay's wife used to be Uncle L's high school girlfriend. That's why they don't get along.
Oh, my great uncle was one of the last men hung in Wales. Family says that he didn't do it, ... but he did. Not the family, like, brawling.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, okay, there's one on here, and I cannot figure out where the fuck it is, but it was like, we recently found out that my grandpa was actually a military spy.
Oh, I just saw it.
Not the Boeing employee / something that we all thought he was for his entire life. Where the hell is that?
Grandpa was a military spy, not the college dropout Boeing employee like he said he was.
Yeah.
That's
crazy. That's crazy. Actually, something similar happened where we found out that someone in our life was banned, and like thus like the family line for I think 2 generations is banned from going to Russia for having cameras on the bottom of their plane.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Scary.
Love it.
Families in the mafia, murdered in my childhood home. Taylor's mom. You know I ain't telling.
Yeah, she ain't telling shit, man. She ain't letting that out.
Take that to the grave.
Right.
My aunt might have slept with her son's granddad, creating a child.
Huh?
So like your father-in-law and you have a kid, or I hope not your daddy, your father-in-law.
Wait, read it again.
My aunt might have slept with her son's granddad, creating a live child.
So her sons, I'm assuming, so meaning her father-in-law.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Not daddy.
Right. Because then it wouldn't have been slept with, like had incestual shit with. My grandfather on my dad's side hired someone to drive his wife off a cliff by his work. Again, creepy accounts, host. Creepy accounts.
For real.
Found out that my great-grandpa is in fact not the Colonial Parkway killer. Still a piece of shit, though.
My Nana had an affair and got pregnant with my uncle. I have another family that lives 30 minutes away from our town. He owns a coffee and butcher shop. I went into there once and didn't know he was my uncle brother. LOL. Now he knows.
Oh my God. That's like you when you pulled up at the SRO's office and you're like, what's your last name?
You're my uncle. He's like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Oh my God. All right, guys, these are really good, but we're going to go ahead and get to the Ames.
And one last one. Great-great-grandma owned a brothel.
Slang. I hope she was like a good mother.
I hope she was.
Yeah, we hope she was good. I do need to go ahead and apologize before we jump into this that I am super stopped up. So for the next month, you will be hearing me talk like this. Maybe I'll go do like a little Afrin moment in between.
A little what?
Afrin moment.
What's Afrin?
This nose spray.
Oh.
Afrin. So this is from the Reddit thread, obviously ours, Creeps and Crimes, and the user is Safe Village 1886. Ames, trigger warning, I think my stepmother killed my father.
Holy shit.
FYI,
I read this,
I think
right?
this is the one that we read on Patreon mini, but we went ahead and forewarned you guys when we read it like 2 months ago that we were probably gonna bring this one
one's a
over.
long one, but it's good, so hold on tight.
Yes, here we go. Since you asked for messy family drama on Thursday, here it is. This has been my life for the last year. Firstly, trigger warning, talks of suicide. Thank you for that. Unfortunately, I am a certified yapper, and this is long and heartwarming at the end. But by all means, there is a baby summary at the end. I apologize in advance. Before this story, let me give you some background info. I am a 21 female. My parents got divorced when I was around 8. They both remarried. My father married my, quote, stepmom in 2016, and I put stepmom in quotes because that woman was never motherly to me in any way. She had her own daughter who is a couple months older than me. Her daughter, I'll call Sarah, is also 21 female. Has some behavioral issues, mainly autism, but we never got along because she would hit, kick, bite, anything to me, both in school and at home. And I was told that she couldn't control herself. But when you are in a private school of 20 kids, you cannot get away from each other. Nonetheless, the daughter was never kind to me. And as an 8 to 12-year-old kid, you can't quite understand why someone, Sarah specifically, would treat you in such a manner. And never get in trouble for it because the excuse was always, quote, she can't help it, which is so confusing when you're 8 and you can't understand why if you hit her, you are in trouble, but she can do it to you and never get in trouble. I understand that. As for my quote unquote stepmom, who we will call Sally, was never nice to me. She was very strict, and I was a hard to control, raging kid because my parents got divorced and I had no control over anything in my life. I was mainly mouthy. We tried therapy and that never helped anyone get along. Sally also refused to attend therapy sessions. My mother was even mature enough to sit in the same room as my father and do a whole family therapy session for an hour. Sally was very strict and blunt and often showed no emotion. Throughout the years, I felt like my dad and Sally got married for money and convenience. Their relationship was very business casual. Sally did not like me and would target me. I had more chores, I had higher expectations, and I soon had no alone time with my father. After my father and her announced their marriage, I soon ended my 50-50 custody split and ignored my father, as did all of my siblings because no one liked Sally. Sally replaced us for a few years. Whenever we would visit, she would leave the house during the day, come in late at night, anything that she could do to avoid us. After I moved out and about a year and a half after their marriage, my dad and I reconnected and slowly built a bond. My stepmother was never around when I would go for visits, etc. She was never there to be around me ever again. Now for the story. I live in Texas and moved approximately a year and a half ago. I moved for work and to get a fresh start, as I am an RN. My family still lives in a small town on the East Coast where nobody leaves, and they live their whole lives there. My father was faced in February of 2023 to put his father, who lived with him for 5 years, in a nursing home. My grandparents, his parents, moved from Idaho as they were in their 80s and needed some extra care and not to live by themselves. My grandmother is still alive. My grandfather passed away in November of 2023, which I went back to the East Coast for a week to say my goodbyes, visit with my dad, etc. Throughout this process, I was my dad's shoulder. His guidance with my nursing background about discussing his fears and heartbreak of separating my grandparents when my grandfather needed to be moved to a nursing home in July of 2023. I helped with the process, helped guide him to a tough decision as my grandfather could barely get around and my grandmother, a frail 4 foot 9 inches, teeny itty bitty German lady, could no longer care for him. He showed signs of dementia, constant UTIs, falls. He needed extra care from a nursing home. And I broke it to my father that he could not adequately care for him and had to separate them as my grandmother could still care for herself. I watched my father break as we buried his father, and I didn't save him. I let him grieve in silence, not realizing how bad it would become. My stepmother did not attend the funeral.
That's crazy.
She did not attend a ceremonious walk out of the body at the nursing home when they draped a flag over my grandfather for his service. She was nowhere to be found. That's insane.
Yeah.
January 23, and I think this might be referring to January 2024, but I just...
Maybe it's January 23rd.
23rd, yeah. It was 10:30 in the morning, and I got a phone call from a family friend. The conversation went like this. Are you alone? No, I'm here with my boyfriend. Okay, are you sitting down? Yes, what is wrong? Who is dead? Your dad died this morning. How did he die? Trigger warning. He hung himself this morning. I am so sorry, baby. He loved you kids so much. I got on a plane 4 hours later. My worry was my brother and grandmother who lived in the house with him. This whole time, silence from my stepmother. No comments, no answers. I got back by midnight and got to hug my siblings. My mother's side of the family, divorced, came to the house and had been sitting with my grandmother and brother all day, cooking, forcing people to eat, comforting. It was the first time since my mom left the family home that it felt warm and full of life despite the tragedy. My stepmom was nowhere to be found. She left 3 days before on a work trip. My brother, who lived in the house, was unaware she was even out of town. He killed himself on a Tuesday. She had left for her business trip on a Sunday. I had spoken with my father over the weekend. There were no signs. My brother and grandmother, who lived with him, noticed no signs. If I would have only known how much that last phone call would mean, I think I would have stayed on the phone with him all day. Oh. My father texted my stepmother, a neighborhood friend and a family friend, our lifelong babysitter who everyone loves, that he loved us and to take care of my siblings and his mother. The family friend lives 20 minutes away, called the neighborhood friend, and she went to the house and found his body. My family never saw the body. They saw him wheeled out of the yard in a body bag. My stepmother came back to the East Coast, DC. Our airports are approximately 2.5 hours away. She did not return to the home for 4 days after his death. Quote, she didn't want to come home to an empty house. Me, my 3 siblings, and their spouses were all waiting for her. We were waiting for next movements, what to do. All of my 4 siblings are under 26 years old. This is the second death to happen in my family. After Sally returned home, she banned my mother's side of the family from coming over and said that if they stepped foot on the property, she would call the police for trespassing. After this comment, I went to stay with my mother and would visit during the day, but I refused to spend the night there. Come to find out, so did my stepmother. She had rented a hotel room just down the street. After her return, there was no talk of a funeral, just talk about switching the bills to her name and accounts to her name so she could pay the bills. During this time, she was cold and callous, showing no emotion, no tears. Actually, she stayed in her room, ignoring all of us. Lots of tears were shared between me and my siblings and my grandmother, friends, etc. At this point, I had already taken off a week from work and had to send my boyfriend back to Texas. After about a week and a half, we went to the funeral home to arrange for a funeral. The date was decided for 2 weeks after the date we went for the planning. I had to return home. I could not stay that long. Sally promised that she would pay for me to come back for the funeral. She never did. Not only did I not know the date of the funeral until 3 days prior, she sent it in an email because it was invite only to prevent my mother's side of the family from coming. She had security at the funeral. This is crazy.
She's fucking nuts.
During this time, siblings and I were trying to get a hold of his will. Lots of legal stuff, blah, blah, blah. We finally get a hold of the will and everything was left to Sally. Everything. Several lawyers told us so, and there was no way to fight it. I did not go back for the funeral, but was emailed approximately a week after the funeral, which was postponed again because everyone got COVID. I could not stand to be around her anymore. She made promises to take care of us, promised us that we would be able to keep some of his ashes, promised to let my brother keep living in the house, promised to take care of my grandmother. Lies, all lies. She emailed all the siblings about a month later telling us to clean out the house by March 31st, get all of our stuff, etc., and stated that we would all get some money from his personal accounts and 1 life insurance policy. We get there, she refuses to give us family heirlooms that belong to my father and refused to give us his ashes. This is where I may be the asshole. I was at my father's house for basically a day to clean and get the items that belong to my dad. Everything I wanted, no one got. We were all told that we couldn't take it. My stepmother was burning some documents by the fire, and I walked over to her and asked about the ashes. She says, quote, I'm not giving you any. No one is getting them. That is the one thing that I'm keeping for myself, end quote. I sat there in silence, tears starting to form in my eyes, and I said, you know, you can always get a new husband. I will never get my father back. She says, that is uncalled for. You can leave before I call the police. Fuck off, Sally.
Yeah, she's nuts.
I packed up and I left. Admittedly, Sally is, quote, hurting too, even if she never shows it. I can understand that the jab was mean. However, I had been nice, let her hurt everyone around me, and had kept my mouth shut for long enough. She deserved no more kindness in my heart. Further background, she received everything: the house, cars, tools, tractor, golf cart, side-by-side, boat, trailers, camper. Just the house was listed for $620,000. So she is loaded from his assets and plans to get rid of everything and keep nothing. The house was paid off. She also makes a 6-figure salary, as did my father. I went to contact her and apologize for my comment, but I am blocked via phone, Facebook, emails, everything. Needless to say, months later, I have received nothing but the items that I managed to grab. There is so much more, but I want to keep it condensed as this is already long. After months of heartbreak, I saw things that constantly reminded me of him. Geese, specifically. I'd always see a flock flying overhead on especially rough days. I'd think, I see you, Dad. Thank you. For my birthday in August, I decided to meet with Susan. Finally.
Aww.
Thought about it for months and finally did it for my birthday. I was very, very skeptical because it was my first time and weird. She didn't open up with my father. She opened up with a patient that I had had a month prior, and that's how I knew she was real. We talked a lot about my father. His response when I asked if Sally did it was his response for everything that was hard or when I messed up. Quote, ultimately, it was my choice. I was very unhappy for 10 years, end quote. Susan also went on to say that everything we talked about could happen in 2 to 6 months. Well, I was freaked out because when there was mention on if my future kids will talk to the walls just to know that they are talking to my father, then on October, so this is in August. Then on October 27th, I found out that I was pregnant. The next morning, I saw a flock of geese flying in the sky. I called my grandmother. She was ecstatic. She went on and on about how proud my dad would be. I know he's watching in the sky and sending me those geese when I need him the most. I gotta meet with Susan again soon.
She's gonna be so excited, even though she already knew you're pregnant.
Right. Yeah, that's why she even brought it up. P.S. Title is a bit clickbait, but we did try to get the police to look into my dad's death, but they wouldn't without hard evidence. I think she was emotionally manipulative and somehow drove him to do this. Everyone who knew him knew something was wrong in his family life and how unhappy he was with my stepmom, and that's what he would talk about. Those people would refuse to go to the police and tell them. He is now cremated. Bestie.
Damn.
I am so
she's
sorry.
A fucking lunatic.
She's actually fucking insane. Like, and what sucks is there's literally nothing that you can do. She's like a psychopath.
Yeah.
She blocked you guys on everything, is threatening to call the police for trespassing on your mother's family who's coming there and cooking for them, taking care of them. She doesn't let them come to the funeral. Who gives a flying fuck if they were divorced 20 years ago?
And also the fact that like she got back from her business trip, her husband is dead, and she just doesn't come home.
She
for
doesn't
4
come
days.
home. First off, and she didn't even have the decency to fucking call you guys.
Yeah.
Like the family friend called you guys. She never reached out, no comments, nothing. This bitch is absolutely a succubus. A succubus is what she is. Fuck her. Thank God that she is out of your life. And I feel like that's one of the biggest gifts that your dad was able to give you in all this, was like you don't have to think about her, see her, even like worry about her existence anymore because she's gone. So you're gonna have this beautiful baby. You have this beautiful life. Your dad sends you amazing like signs and
2 more months.
Yeah.
2
right.
more months. 3 or 2 more months.
Right. So you've got all these beautiful signs, and like Susan said, this child's gonna be talking to the walls, and something to look forward to. And we're excited for the creepy accounts.
For the creepy accounts of that.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for writing that in on Reddit.
I'm so sorry that happened.
Yeah, that is so sad. We're so sorry.
And no, I don't think you're missing anything. I think your stepmother Sally is missing fucking everything.
Yeah, I think
the whole fucking point.
Yeah, you're not missing anything. And honestly, your suspicions about like,
I would have thought that bitch killed my dad too.
Yeah, like, and even if she didn't do it hands-on, like there was some manipulation in it.
Yeah.
And just because someone that's that fucking horrible, we don't even know how horrible they are behind closed doors.
Absolutely. All right. The next one and last one is from our Reddit thread, user realistic reveal 767. Am I the asshole? My stepdad cheated on my mom on Fortnite.
Shut the fuck up.
Hi girlies, I'm 19 female and I have quite the story for you today. Essentially, my stepdad cheated on my mother on Fortnite. Let me give you some background and explain why I'm questioning if I am the asshole in this situation. My stepdad has been in my life since I was 4, and it's been rocky for most of our relationship. However, 4 years ago, he became addicted to Fortnite and streaming it. Keep in mind, this is a grown man with a job and responsibilities that he chose to neglect so he could play this game. He would go to work for 8 hours, even call out sometimes, and then play the game all day
That's
long.
insane.
However, he started playing with this woman and streaming with her recently. He then asked me and my twin brother to play with him and this woman on the game. The first time we played with both of them, we instantly knew something was fucking weird. They were very flirty and honestly way too friendly. Keep in mind, they are both married and this woman has her own children as well. My mom is the breadwinner in their relationship and I love her to death. She has shown me every day how to be a strong woman in this world and how to stick up for yourself. So instantly, I knew I had to find out what was really going on between my stepdad and this woman. A couple days later, I walked into his streaming room and he had messages pulled up between him and this woman that were very flirty. Also, they were using a messaging app called Telegram, which is just instantly weird. Yeah, we've been on Telegram before, but not for that.
Not for that.
I took a picture of the messages without him knowing and walked out of the room, not indicating that I saw those messages. I went and showed my mom and told her I would try to find more, even though she insisted that this was not my drama and she did not want to pull me into this. However, I am one nosy ass bitch.
Exactly.
So I waited until my stepdad went to bed that night and went through his computer.
Yes.
I found so much shit that confirmed all my suspicions were true. I took a video of all the messages and I left everything like I found it. The next morning, I told my mom and showed her everything. However, my stepdad was acting really weird, like he knew someone was on his computer that night. He asked my mom why she was acting weird that morning and basically gaslighted her into feeling like she was crazy for acting weird. You know how he knew? He got a message from that girl through the Telegram app on his phone, and she was like, "Why were you live last night?"
Right.
And
why
not
were you
playing.
active?
And,
Why?
yeah.
Why? Well, then why weren't you messaging me?
Yeah. But my mom kept her cool and didn't tell him that she knew anything. So basically, he had suspicions that she knew everything, but my mom did not confirm it or say anything about it.
Smart.
She let it linger. Eventually, everything came unraveled and my mom told him she knew everything. There's so much more to this story, but I don't want to go into too much detail because it would be pages of chatting. Basically, he was refusing to move out of the house they share, even though my mom pays all of the bills and has children who live there. So I have been shunning him and he is not taking it lightly. He keeps trying to make small talk with me and is acting like everything is normal. Bitch, goodbye. It is not.
Fuck off.
Anyways, I've been ignoring him and he is trying to make me feel bad. I've had this person in my life for so long, so I feel like that's why I feel so bad, but also he is an asshole. Anyways, if you want any more details, let me know. Keep thriving. Thank you, girls, for everything you do.
No, you're not the asshole if that was even the question.
Yeah, no.
You're doing, and you know what? Keep making this man fucking itch in his skin until he gets the fuck out of the house.
Yeah.
If you want to be so low to cheat on me on a fucking children's game where they do the fucking floss or whatever the fuck, and like, then get the fuck out of my house. Like, your mom is a saint because I would have set the fucking PC on fire.
I know.
There would have been a hole burned through the top level of my house down to the living room from where Logan's thing sits. If God forbid I ever found on a fucking children's game. Fortnite and Call of Duty. Like,
live.
not even whatever the fuck, where they're like, in the name of God or whatever the hell, phasmophobia or whatever the fuck the name of it is.
That's crazy.
That's
I
crazy.
would kick his ass.
Yeah, keep being a bitch.
And good for
keep
you
icing
for
him out.
going through the whole computer, because
Yeah.
I would have too.
Oh, me
I've
and
been like, Mom, I know that you probably, my mother, you probably can't turn it on, but I can, so I'll do all the work for you.
Yeah, and honestly, I'll just bring it to you. We'll talk about it when we're done.
And if you're on Patreon, then you know Taylor and I sleuthing that one story. That's hilarious.
That is so funny.
And yeah. And it was just the boys being fucking idiots.
Just being boys.
But not like in a way you think.
No, there was no girls. We went on there snooping. We had cause for concern. We had cause.
Legitimate cause.
Yeah, and we're wives. Like, we're legally allowed to do those.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Love you guys. See you Thursday.
Talk to you on Thursday. Bye. Oh, also, if you want to send in your aims, please go to our Reddit thread and do it. I feel like we're kind of drying up.
Yeah, we are. And don't forget to buy merch. Thanks.
Yeah, buy our merch. Love you. Bye.